So you've got a big mandate to innovate, right? To find that next game changer for your company. But let's be real. How do you make those bold bets without just guessing and risking it all? Well, today, we're going to break down a super smart, proven way to stop guessing and start learning, so you can systematically de-risk your biggest, boldest ideas. Okay, let's dive right in. To really get why this method is so powerful, we have to get brutally honest about the problem, the core dilemma that every single innovator faces. It doesn't matter if you're in a garage startup or a massive global company.
And that problem leads to this number. It's pretty sobering, right? A staggering 90% of startups fail. And look, I know this says startups, but the reason why they fail is a universal truth. It applies to any new product in any company of any size.
Now, what's your first guess? You'd probably think it's running out of money or getting crushed by a competitor. But the actual data? It tells a totally different, and honestly a much more preventable story. So what's the real culprit here?
There it is, the number one reason for failure, and it's not even close, accounting for 42% of cases, is shockingly simple. They build something nobody wants. They spend all this time and money perfectly engineering a solution to a problem that, well, it just doesn't really exist for their customers.
And if you're in a big organization, this problem gets put on steroids. You've got long project timelines, different departments that don't talk to each other, and a deep fear of failure. It means you could spend millions building a product based on a guess about what the market wanted like a year ago. You're basically playing a game you can't win.
But what if you could change the rules of the game? What if, instead of making these huge, high-risk gambles, you could run a series of small, smart, intelligent experiments? That's the whole promise of this toolkit we're talking about. It's about learning what you should build before you bet the entire budget.
First up, we've got the proof of concept, or the POC. You should think of this like a quick and dirty lab experiment. It's not meant for users, it's totally internal. Its only job is to answer one simple question. Is this thing even technically possible? It's how you find out if your crazy moonshot idea can actually get off the ground.
Okay, so once you know you can build it, the prototype answers how you should build it. This is all about the user experience. It might look and feel like the real thing, but it's usually just a simulation, like clickable mockups. The whole point is to put it in front of users and ask, does this make sense? Is it intuitive? Do you get it?
And finally, we get to the MVP, the minimum viable product. This is really where the rubber meets the road. It's the first actually working version of your product that you release to real, paying users. And the key word here is minimum. It's stripped down to the absolute bare essentials, just enough to solve one core problem, so you can finally answer the most important question of all, does anyone actually want to use this thing?
Now, putting them all side by side like this is where it all clicks. Just look at how the key question evolves at each stage. A POC asks, can we build it? Then the prototype asks, how should we build it? And finally, the MVP asks the million-dollar question, should we build it? See? These aren't interchangeable tools. They're part of a process, a funnel, designed to wring the risk out of your idea, one step at a time.
And all of this brings us to the core philosophy, the engine that powers the whole MVP approach. It's not just a product tactic, It's a fundamental shift in thinking, away from just guessing and into the world of the scientific method.
Eric Ries, the guy who really popularized this whole concept in his book, The Lean Startup, he just nailed the definition. The whole goal of an MVP isn't to make a bunch of money right away. No, the goal is validated learning. That means getting cold, hard facts from how real customers actually behave, not just from what they say they might do in a focus group.
And you get that learning by using this simple, continuous loop. First, you build the smallest possible thing to test an idea. Then you measure how real customers react to it. And from that data, you learn. You learn whether you need to change course or pivot, or if you should double down and persevere. This little loop is the engine that turns raw ideas into real, viable products. Okay, so enough with the theory. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world, because some of the biggest companies you know today started out as unbelievably simple, really clever experiments.
Let's start with Dropbox. Before they wrote a single line of production code for their super complex file syncing product, you know what the founders did? They just made a simple 3-minute video that showed people how it would work. That's it, a video.
And the result was absolutely staggering. They posted the video to a tech forum, and literally overnight, their sign-up list for the beta version exploded from 5,000 to 75,000 people. They proved there was massive, overwhelming demand for their product before it even existed. That right there is validated learning.
Or how about Zappos? They started with this totally wild idea that people would actually buy shoes online without trying them on first. So the founder made a super basic website with pictures of shoes he took at local shoe stores. The website looked real, but behind the curtain, it was just him.
When someone placed an order, he would physically walk to the store, buy the shoes at full price, and then go mail them himself. This brilliant Wizard of Oz approach proved his entire business model was sound before he ever had to spend a single dollar on inventory or a warehouse. Just genius.
And of course, there's the famous story of Airbnb. It didn't start with some grand vision to disrupt the hotel industry. It started because the founders literally couldn't afford their rent. A design conference came to town, all the hotels were booked, so they threw an air mattress on their living room floor, made a simple website, and got 3 paying guests. That was it. That was all the validation they needed to know people would actually pay to stay in a stranger's home.
So these experiments are fantastic, right? But you have to remember this. An experiment without measurement is just a hobby. To actually prove your MVP is working, you have to be tracking the right things.
And that means you have to avoid vanity metrics. Things like total downloads or page views. Yeah, they look good in a presentation, they make you feel good, but they don't tell you if your product is actually valuable. You need to focus on actionable metrics. Things like user retention, which proves people are coming back again and again because they really need what you've built.
A healthy MVP dashboard tells a real story. Retention rate tells you if people love your product. Churn rate warns you if they're leaving. And customer acquisition cost, or CAC, tells you if you can actually afford to grow. These numbers are the vital signs that show you've got a real, sustainable business on your hands, not just a popular app.
So let's just boil this all down. The crucial point here is that the MVP approach isn't about being cheap, it's about being smart. It's like an insurance policy against building the wrong thing. It gets your product to market way faster, it slashes those initial costs, and, best of all, it gives you real data to get buy-in from your stakeholders.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a challenge, a question to take back to your team. Forget about massive budgets or year-long plans for a second. Think about your next big idea and just ask yourselves this. What is the single, fastest, cheapest experiment we could possibly run, starting next week, to learn something truly valuable about our customer? Find that, and you're on the right track.